All right, everyone, it's time for another very important topic when it comes to enhancing and fail stacking, and I wanted to talk about the big differences between using gray items versus green items. So, for example, Reblaths shoes versus Grunil helmets, and I'm just going to use Grunil helmets as an example because that's got to be one of the most common green items that people use for fail stacking. And I think there's a common misunderstanding out there that a lot of people, especially more inexperienced enhancers, think that green items are just always going to be better because you can sell them on the market. And that is true. You cannot sell Reblaths shoes on the market. However, as you enhance more, and if you're already a more experienced enhancer, you'll probably know by now that even though you can't sell Reblaths shoes directly on the market, they still have an insane amount of value associated with them because you can always click them for more fail stacks, or you can devour them for other fail stacks. So yes, you can still get value for Reblaths shoes even though you can't directly sell them on the market, but a lot of people want to go with green items because if they hit a higher enhancement level that they don't need, they can sell it and get some silver back for their investment trying to build up those stacks. So let's take a look at Grunil helmets. That's the one I'm going to use primarily as my example in this video. I will tell you though that it doesn't have to be Grunil helmets if you do go with greens. There's plenty of other ones out there. This is probably the most common one, and another big thing is this is the one that probably has the biggest market, which means if you do a lot of enhancing and fail stacking, if you end up with a ton of these extra of certain enhancement levels that you don't need, you won't really be able to have that problem of having to hold on to them for a while. Whereas if you use other items like other greens, if we go to armor and we go to like helmets, there's a couple other helmets here that are also used for fail stacking. They have a smaller market, so there's a chance that you're gonna have to hold on to those items for a bit longer. So if that's not a concern to you, you can go with something else, but Grunils definitely have to be the most popular green for fail stacking. So the first thing that I want to point out though is the actual base cost for the helmets, and this is not insignificant. This adds a lot of extra cost to your enhancing and your fail stacking. If we take a look here, we'll see right now they're at about 400,000. Sometimes they're even higher. You can see that the peak price goes actually up to 600,000. So, you know, that's basically an extra 500,000 silver or so every single click that you make on these, starting at the Pry enhancement level, that you have to pay in addition to the cost of the concentrated stone. And if you end up making your concentrated stones yourself, which I would highly, highly recommend if you do a lot of enhancing, you know, that's going to cost you one of these hards, which right now they're actually really expensive. They were quite a bit cheaper recently, you know, between 1.2 to 1.5 million silver. And then, of course, 2 of the armor stones, which are currently right now about 125, 130,000 each. So you're adding an extra 500,000 onto a cost of like between 1.5 to 1.7 million. That's not insignificant. That's an extra 20-25% that you have to spend on your clicks if you use green items. Now, if you use Reblaths, which are gray, you can't sell them on the market directly, but you avoid that massive cost that you have to spend in addition to the concentrated stones. And instead you can just go to the vendor here and you can buy them. And another thing, which is probably not as big of a deal for most people watching this video, but with the amount of enhancing that I do, it's a very big deal, is the time as well. I can go ahead and click and buy a ton of Reblaths boots really, really quickly and repair all my gear really, really quickly right at the vendor here. Whereas with green items, it takes a lot more time to actually go buy them all in the market. Sometimes they're out of stock. And then that's a whole nother problem right there. Then you have to take them out of the market, and then you have to go to repair them. And, you know, again, it's not a huge deal if you don't really do a ton of enhancing, but for somebody like me, that's a lot of extra time that I have to spend now in my enhancing routine in order to do all my fail stacks and whatnot. So there's the cost, you know, 12.9K, 13,000 versus 500,000. There's the time. But now, is it worth it, right? There's no way around using the concentrated stones. Whether you click on Reblaths or Grunils, you still have to end up using these right here every single click. That's going to be costly. It's going to be expensive. And, you know, is it worth going to greens, giving you the option to sell them on the market, considering you have to use these concentrated stones? And I'll tell you, let's go back to Grunil helmets right here. And add a quick note here. I'll say that if you are planning on selling them at the Try enhancement level or lower, generally speaking, you actually do come out ahead with the extra cost of the Grunil helmets at an extra 400,000, 500,000 each in order to sell them. Because, first of all, the Pries are pretty overpriced. Duos are, you know, I mean, they're overpriced, but they're not overpriced compared to the Pries. And then the tries, like 129, 130,000, like in this general ballpark right here, it does not cost that much in order to make tries. Whether you do Grunils, whether you do Reblaths, it's going to take you about 20 clicks or so on average, depending on the fail stacks you use. We'll say 20 to 30 in order to go from pry to try. So when you factor in the cost of the concentrated stones, 1.5, 1.7 million each, plus the extra 500,000 that you end up spending for your repairs, 20 to 30 clicks, you're spending an extra like 12 to 15 million silver or so in order to click on Grunils up to try instead of on Reblaths. So at that point, when you add in the cost of the repairs and the cost of the concentrated stones, like 1.7 plus 500,000, like 2.2 to 2.3 million per click. If it takes you 25 clicks, even 30, which is, probably on the higher side, that's going to be quite a bit less than, what the tries are actually selling for. So if you do sell them at try or lower, if you sell them at duo or pry as well, because those don't take too many clicks relative to the higher enhancement levels, those ones are generally okay. Now, it's not super crazy. It's not as much as you might actually think it is in terms of profit or how far ahead you get. But generally, if you're not building up those really, really high fail stacks, if you're stopping before 50 or so and you're not clicking on your tries, very important, as long as you're not clicking on your tries to build higher fail stacks, then it's totally fine. Now, where the math starts to get really bad and where it starts to absolutely not be worth clicking on greens anymore is past try, like going to Tet and especially going to Pen. The thing is, there is a massive difference in the amount of clicks that you have to do on a Grunil helmet past try difficulty in order to get to Tet, and especially in order to get to Pen. Even just going from try to Tet, getting to try takes you like 20 to 30 clicks. Now, in order to go to Tet, if you click on your tries now, starting at, 40, 50 fail stacks, whatever you do, that's a whole separate topic for another video. The chances are pretty low. It's going to be between 10 and 15% or so. Now you've gone from like taking 20 to 30 clicks in order to get a try to now going to something crazy like 100 plus clicks in order to get a Tet. Now that it's an extra 50 to 100 million silver that you're going to have to end up spending just into repair costs. Now, I repeat, that's not 50 to 100 million silver to actually make the Tet. Then obviously it would be super profitable and everybody would make Tets to sell them. Doesn't work like that. That's just the extra cost, just in repair costs that you have to spend in order to make a Tet. And, that's a lot extra that you have to spend. And at that point, it's better to just go with Reblaths. And you might be like, wait a second, though. But what if you end up with Tet Reblaths? Those are terrible. They're worthless. It's much better to get an item that you could sell for, 400 million silver, even if you have to spend an extra 100 million silver in repair costs, right? Well, this is one of those more experienced, enhanced things where you realize that any Tet item, it doesn't matter whether it's a green, whether it's a blue, whether it's a gray, it could be Reblath shoes, it could be a militia shield, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. Any Tet item is worth, at a minimum, about 250 to 300 million silver. And there's some complex math behind that, which I'm not going to really get into in this video. Maybe another day. But I also, I try to share as much with you guys as I can. But obviously, because I do this for profit, there's some stuff that unfortunately I become a bit hesitant to share because I don't want to give away too many crazy secrets. But I'm doing what I can here, and there will still be many more secrets and fun stuff and videos in the future. But that's the kind of stuff that I get a little hesitant to share. But yes, it's about 250 to 300 million is the value of a Tet item, whether it's a gray, whether it's a green, it doesn't matter. So at that point, with all the extra clicking that you're doing on those tries, all the extra repair cost, all the extra time that it's going to take to go and do it, it is absolutely not worth it with the amount of enhancing that I do. And if you're somebody who does a ton of enhancing, it's just not going to be worth it at that point. The math starts to get very sloppy, not great, not worth the time investment, not worth the repair investment. Now, if you are somebody who doesn't do a ton of enhancing, if you're going to stop at try and sell them at try, totally fine to do greens, especially if you are looking to make some of your silver back from your concentrated stones and you're just looking to get those earlier stacks. It is okay. And it doesn't even have to be Grunils. It can be something else. If you want to go ahead and go with an item that has a lower repair cost, that's totally fine too. It can be difficult though, and you're going to run into other problems now where now you might not be able to find those items in stock. and then you're not going to be able to repair. And so, you know, there's always some sort of problem that you run into, whatever option that you get into. But the most important point I wanted to really reaffirm in this video after this more detailed discussion is okay to do greens up to try or so. After that, definitely not worth it. I'm not even going to get into pen because at that point, the repair costs are so huge. The extra money that you spend, yeah, it's definitely not going to be worth it at that point. So anyway, that's going to be about it. I've shared enough info and stuff in this video. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. So there's obviously plenty more topics and stuff to get into with enhancing and fail stacking. And definitely make sure that you guys stop by the stream. We do this kind of stuff basically every single day, all night long. Happy to answer questions there, but I like to keep YouTube more informational, educational, tips, tricks, guides, that sort of stuff, and Twitch is more about the entertainment value, and we do all the big clicks. Lots of enhancing, guys. We do 10 billion plus a day minimum. That's like a small day. We did 57 pen attempts the other day. We've done 350 plus total. Like, we do some big stuff, so check it out, twitch.tv/salt. But that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time.